students, so in this video lecture we are going to study about the horticulture. So horticulture, what it is and what are its different branches, what are all aspects related to horticulture, that will be studying here. Alright, so first of all, getting acquainted with the word horticulture, from where it has been derived. Okay, so this horticulture word, if we break it into two parts, this has been derived from two Latin words. First is the hortus and the second one is the colere. Hortus here means the garden. Okay, so garden, you must be having, means many people have their kitchen garden or a garden by side of their homes or any other place. There we generally grow the vegetable crops, the fruit crops, or sometimes the ornamental plants. Okay, so all those, all these plants, all these crops that we grow in our gardens, their cultivation. So all of the practice of their cultivation, right from their sowing to their pruning to their irrigation to their harvesting, all that is studied under the horticulture. So it basically deals with all the garden crops. Okay, when you come to the definition, it says it's a branch of agriculture. So agriculture has different branches. You must have already studied about that. One of the branches of agriculture is the horticulture. Okay? It is concerned with the intensively cultured plants directly used by people for food, medicinal purpose. So it not only covers the vegetable and fruits parts that are under the food, but it also covers the cultivation of medicinal plants, the aromatic plants, the spices. Okay? Aesthetic, for aesthetic purpose, we generally grow different kinds of flower and different kinds of ornamental plants. So all that also is also studied under the horticulture. Okay, now coming to the branches of horticulture. So what all we what are the different branches? So this is mainly important for the NABARD, because in NABARD exam we have seen frequently that questions from the branches of horticulture have been asked. So it is important for you to know what are the different branches. Okay, so one by one we are going to study. We are with the overview you can know that it comprises of study of the different floriculture plants, okay, flower plants, the vegetables, the fruits, different medicinal plants and aromatic plants, the plantation crops and the spices. Okay, one by one we are going to study about it. So first of all we study about the olericulture. So this olericulture term has also been derived from the Latin words. Those are oleris and the other one is the culture. Okay, oleris, what does oleris means? The pot herb. That means all the herbs or all the you can say the plants that can be grown on in a pot or in the garden as well. So pot, herb and culture, we know that means the cultivation. So not just the cultivation of these vegetables, but it also comprises of the different aspects related to it. The cultivation involves the sowing of it, giving different kinds of fertilizer for its growth, then irrigation, then weeding that we do in the vegetable gardens. Okay, along with that, the harvesting of these fruits, or you can say the vegetables. After that, the processing of it. So you must have seen that we have different kinds of fruits, or you can say different kinds of vegetables that are used to make processed foods like pickles, or you can make the ketchup. Okay, that also is involved under olericulture. Along with this, the marketing of these things is also considered under the olericulture. Okay, so it is important for you. Next thing we have the pomology. So similarly, as olericulture deals with the cultivation and the package of practices of the cultivation of the vegetable crops, here pomology, it deals with the cultivation of all the fruits. Okay, so different kinds of fruits we have papaya, we have citrus fruits, we have the grapes, strawberry, mango, and guava. All these fruits are studied under the pomology. So pomum, it has also been derived from two Latin words. Sometimes a question in the exam is also asked about the from where this word pomology has been derived. So it has been derived from Latin words, that is for pomum, and the logos. Logos always, it means the study. So in different now terms you must have studied about this logy word. So even the biology is like study of the biological organism. So logy always means the logos. It has been derived from the logos, and logos means the study. The important word that you need to remember is the pomum. Pomum means fruits. Alright. Next we have the floriculture. So floriculture, from the name also you can guess that what does it indicates? The flowers. Okay, so the cultivation of all the flowers, and along with these flowers we also go for cultivation of ornamental plants. So ornamental plants, those are cultivated for the aesthetic purposes. You must have seen that in our houses or in our offices also, there are different types of palms are grown, different types of ornamental plants are grown that have good foliage, or you can say green foliage or different colored foliage. Those are also used for the aesthetic purpose, and those all are cultivated under the floriculture. Alright. Next we have the plantation crops. So this plantation crop is little bit different from the other crops. Okay. How? Because here we have the concept that is different from the cultivation of vegetables or fruits. Here the plantation crops. What are the plantation crops? These are generally the cultivation of crops like coconut. You must have seen coconut, areca nut, rubber, coffee, tea, etc. Now what is different about these crops is that these are generally grown extensively. That means on a large scale, on a large area, we generally grow these kinds of crops. Okay? And these are generally the perennial crops that are grown on a large scale by either an individual or a company. People who are having a large estate, or you can say large gardens, there generally these kinds of plantation crops are cultivated, and after that these plantation crops require the, you can say, post harvest technology. So must have seen that tea has to go undergo the curing process, है ना? Similar way in cashew nut you must have seen that there is a layer present above the cashew nut that has to be removed. So it has to be like processed in the factories. Similarly, here you can see the coffee. It doesn't look like the coffee beans, but these are the actual fruits that grow on the coffee tree, and then, or you can say the coffee plant, and then these are harvested and then like processed to form the coffee beans. So all of these plantation crops have to be processed, and these are grown on large scale. Okay. Next, coming to spices and condiments. So spices and condiments are like important part of Indian, you can say, dishes. ठीक है ना? Because like they add flavor to the food, and we Indians generally like the spices and condiments in our food, है ना? So all that cultivation, spices and condiments cultivation, that involves the production of various spices and aromatic plants used to enhance the flavor of food. Generally, these are used for the for enhancing the flavor of the food. Next branch that we have is the medicinal and aromatic crops. So medicinal and aromatic crops generally involve where you have the aloe vera, you have the tulsi, the lemongrass. Lemongrass is considered under the aromatic plants, aromatic crops. So all those cultivation, है ना? The cultivation of mint also you can have. All that is like under the medicinal and aromatic crops section of the horticultural crops. Alright. Next, coming to some of the important, so those all were the branches of horticulture. Now we are coming to the some of the important concepts that are related to horticulture. What are the different concepts that are related? First, we are going to study about the how these plants are generally propagated. So in order to multiply any of the organisms, there are different kinds of the methods for propagation. And every species for its survival has to like go through the reproduction process. So similarly in plants also we have different like methods through which these plants are propagated. First is a sexual method, and the other one we have is the asexual method. In sexual method, see, generally sexual method involves the fertilization of male and female gametes. See here. So when male and female gamete in plants, they fertilize, they form a seed. Okay. Now this seed has the embryo developed inside it, and this embryo will further develop into a new plant. So when we go for using the seed in order to propagate into a new plant, we call it as a sexual method. Alright. So multiplication of plants by seeds is known as the sexual method. For example, we have the papaya. You must have seen that papaya fruit has lots of seeds inside it, and those seeds are generally used for its propagation further. Similarly, even in coconut, we have the in coconut also we go for the seed for sowing purpose. Okay, and the plants that are produced from the sexual method, they are generally they may or may not be similar to the parents, because generally what happens, male gametes comes from another plant and female gametes come from another plant. So when they fertilize, they generally, it is seen that their genetic makeup is changed, and therefore when these progeny develop into a new plant, there are some variations seen in that. On on contrary to the asexual method, when in asexual method, what happens is we do not use the seed, instead we use any other part of the plant. This part can be, it can be the stem, or it can be the roots, or it can be the leaves. Okay. So when those parts are used for the propagation of a plant, it is called as the asexual methods. Okay. Now here, when we use the stem or the root or the leaf of mother plant, only one plant has been involved in the in propagation purpose. That's why generally the offspring that is formed from from this method of asexual, generally those are similar to the mother plant. Alright. So that's why it is also known as the clonal propagation or vegetative propagation. Okay, it is a synonymous name, you can say. Next, we have the different types of asexual methods in plant propagation. So questions are generally asked on the different types of asexual methods that we have. In sexual method, we generally we only have one method, that is the seed that we are using. Whereas in asexual method, when we can use different parts of the plant, we have the different techniques as well for the propagations. First, we have the cutting. So in cutting, we generally go for the stem cutting, or we can go for the root cutting, or we can go for the cutting of the leaf as well. Okay, so in some plants, the leaf is generally used for the sowing purpose. In stem also, we have the different types of stem. So we have the softwood cutting. Okay. Then we have the hardwood cutting. Okay. Then we also have the herbaceous cutting. So these are different types of cuttings that we use here. Similarly, we have the budding. In budding, what happens is the bud from one plant. So generally, the bud from the mother plant is taken out, and it is imposed on the other plant. Okay. So when it is imposed on the other plant, so this bud will now develop from, it will first get attached to the other plant that it has been imposed on, and then it will grow into a new plant. Okay. So budding, we have here budding also. In budding also we have different kinds. We have the chip budding, or forked budding, or ring budding. Okay. Then we have the another method, that is the layering method. In layering method, generally the plant that we are using, only one stem of the plant is generally used for the purpose of propagation. So what happens in layering? Suppose this is a plant, and it has grown a branch from here, which is quite flexible. Generally we use a flexible you can say flexible branch of the plant, so that we can mold it in our way. Okay. So in layering, we generally put this branch into the soil. Okay. So this is molded, and then it is put into the soil, and from there it will develop the roots from the part which has been dipped inside the soil. From there it will develop the roots, and from the other part, from this will further grow into a new plant, or you can say new leaves will be arising. Then what we can do, we can detach it from the mother plant. So similar way, it also has different techniques inside the layering. This is the one that is called as the simple layering. Okay, we have the simple layering, then we have the compound layering, the air layering is also there. So here you can see the air layering example. Okay, but I'll tell you about the air layering in the next slide also. Then we have the other one, that is the grafting. In grafting we take two plants. One is our scion. Okay, so here the stem of the scion is taken, and the other one is the root stock. So from the root stock, the one that has the roots is taken, and the scion, from the scion portion, one part of the plant is taken, and then these both are attached with each other. Okay, when they get attached with each other, they grow as a single plant. So this is how grafting is done. Now coming to the different you can say the types that you need to learn. From the exam point of view, these are important. So in mango, we generally see that, in one plant it can be more than one method of propagation, but the one that is commercially used is needs to be remembered. Okay, so in mango we see the veneer grafting and enarching. Both of the methods are used in mango. So if in exam the question comes that in mango which type of commercial method of propagation is used, you have to choose the veneer grafting or enarching. How is it done? Here you can see the picture here. Okay, so in mango the veneer grafting, how is it done? So I've told you about the scion and the rootstock, है ना? So here it is the scion and this is the rootstock. The lower portion is called the rootstock, the upper portion is the scion, and these are of two different types of varieties. The type of varieties that we need the characteristics of. Suppose we have one variety that is resistant to certain disease, and the other variety that is tolerant to drought or conditions like that. So what we'll do, we'll join both of these varieties. We'll take the scion from one variety and the rootstock from the other variety, and then we'll join them. Here you can see, and finally when they finally get attached to each other, it will grow as a one plant. Okay, so this is how it is done in mango. And how is enarching done? This is how enarching is done. So in enarching also, what do is, we take one plant and we take the stem of the other plant as well, both of the varieties that are desirable, and then we join them. We make a slight cut in between and then we join them so that they get attached with each other. After they have developed into one plant, okay, we'll take the scion of the one plant and the rootstock of the other plant and we'll detach it from the mother plant. Okay, this is how the enarching is done. Then in banana we generally go for propagation through the sword sucker. So here you can see that in banana what happens, from the lower part of the plant, what happens if there is this plant, okay, from the lower part, or you can say the lower node, there is one outgrowth coming, okay, and this outgrowth grows vertically upwards. Now this outgrowth becomes the new sword. Okay, it is called as the sucker. Okay, so this one, those are healthy ones, are called the sword suckers, and those are used for the propagation. So it will happen on its own and will just have to let these sword suckers grow. Okay, so that is how it is done in banana. Then in papaya we generally go for the seeds. Okay, these all are important and that's why you need to remember these. Okay, in guava we go for stooling or mound layering. So here you can see the stooling or mound layering is done. Here what do is, first the plant was similar as the other plants are there. What we have done is we have scratched from this part and then we have made a mound over this. So soil is generally made a mound of soil. What happens after that, the roots will come out from this portion as well. So now from one plant we see that we can grow with three ones. Okay, because it has three different branches, Now these can be separated as they have grown their own roots differently. So now these 3 different branches can be made into 3 different plants. Okay? So that is how the mound or stool layering is done. Then we have the lychee. In lychee, air layering is done. So air layering, you can see here in the last slide we had the picture of the air layering. What we have done in this is that you can see a plant in which the stems that it was growing, or the branches that it was growing, on those branches we have scratched some portion, okay, some portion of the branch, and then we have attached the sphagnum moss to it. So what sphagnum moss does is it will allow these branches to grow roots. Okay, from where it has been scratched, from that part only new roots will emerge out, and then after these roots have developed, these will be detached from the main plant and grown into a new seedling. Okay. Next we have the other one, that is the, in sapota also enarching is done. So enarching here already we have seen. In strawberry we use the runner. So in strawberries you can see that horizontal outgrowths from the lower node of the stem. So from the lower node of the stem, horizontal outgrowths come out, and those give rise to a new plant. Okay? So here you can see the runners. In similar way, in grapes we use the hardwood cutting. So in grapes we generally go for the stem cuttings, and stem also the ones that has the hardwood that is used for the cutting purpose. So this is how different methods are used in different plants. Then we have the types of fruits. So what are the different types of fruits that we generally see? It is a broad classification, although there are different types of classification, but here you need to learn the broader classification. So we generally have, on the basis of the climate in which the crop or the fruit is growing, on that basis we have classified it into tropical fruits, subtropical fruits, and the temperate fruits. So in tropical fruits, generally see tropical areas are the ones those are near the equator region. So generally the temperature, the average temperature is higher in those areas, the humidity is higher. So the fruit crops, those are suitable for these types of climatic conditions, are generally grown in these types of regions, and those are called as the tropical fruits. So here we have the example of sapota, custard apple, mango, banana. Mango, banana you must have seen. In the tropical areas these are grown. Papaya, pineapple, guava, jackfruit, carambola, persimmon, coconut, cashew nut. So all these are example of tropical fruits. Then we have the subtropical fruits. So the region that is near the equator region, that is the subtropical region, and in subtropical region the climate, or you can say the temperature, is moderate, slightly lesser than the tropical region. Okay? So here we grow the sweet orange, grapes, lychee, bear, fig, bale, avla, pomegranate, all these fruits are grown in subtropical region. Then we have the third one, that is the temperate region. In temperate region, generally the regions where snowfall occurs, or the temperature is very low, in those areas that we call as the temperate regions. And in temperate regions, temperate fruits are grown. Examples we have the apple, pear, plum, peach, apricot, almond, all these are there. Okay. Next we have the important fruits. So some of the important fruits. So in recent years we have seen that NABARD is also asking about the scientific name of some important crops. So you can go through the scientific names of only few of the important crops. You don't need to learn all of them. Okay. So first important fruit crop that we have is the mango. Okay. So the scientific name of mango is Mangifera indica. It is a tropical fruit, okay, grown in tropical areas. Then we have the apple. Apple is grown in the temperate areas. Apple scientific name is Melis domestica. Then we have the third one. It is also grown in the tropical regions, and this is the banana. The scientific name is Musa parasitica. Okay, third we have the papaya. The scientific name of papaya is Carica papaya. Then we have the grapes, that is a subtropical fruit. Grapes, the scientific name is Vitis vinifera. Then we have the guava. It is also one of the subtropical fruits. The scientific name is Pseudium guajava. Alright. Next we have the vegetables, the important vegetables. So here in vegetables we see the okra is important. Okay. Okra, the scientific name is Abel moschus esculentus. Then we have the tomato. Tomato generally you also used for making the tomato ketchup and tomato puree. So scientific name of this is Solanum lycopersicum. Okay. And if in exam it comes that which family does it belongs to, so it is Solanaceae family. Both the tomato and the potato both belongs to the Solanaceae family. Here the potato, the scientific name is Solanum tuberosum. Then we have the cucurbits. So in cucurbits we have all the gourds. The gourd family is generally known as the Cucurbitaceae family because all of those belong to the Cucurbitaceae family. So bottle gourd ho gaya, we have the bitter gourd, we have the snake gourd, ash gourd, all those are under the Cucurbitaceae family. Here we have one example, that is the bottle gourd. The bottle gourd has a scientific name Legionnaria ciceraria. Then we have the other family, that is the Brassicaceae family. Here we have the cabbage and cauliflower. Okay, here the cabbage we have. Cabbage has the scientific name Brassica oleracea. Then we have the spinach. The spinach has the scientific name of Stanicia oleracea. Okay. Next, coming to the that we have the post-harvest management. So till now we have studied about the horticulture. Now we are going to study about the post-harvest management, value and the supply management of the plantation and different horticultural crops. So after harvesting of these crops, how are they converted into another form, you can say. Okay. So first, what is actually the post-harvest? So methods and techniques that are applied to increase the shelf life. Here, what is the main purpose? First is to reduce the loss. So generally we have seen that in post-harvest conditions, what happens is when we do not take care of these of the products or the commodities that we obtain after harvesting, generally there are losses. Those get ripened, or you can say not just ripened, they get rotten, and therefore we encounter a lots of losses. So how this losses can be reduced or brought down to nil, and how the shelf life of the different horticultural crops can be increased, that is generally that is what is dealt in post-harvest technologies. So all the methods, techniques that are used to increase the shelf life and retain quality of the fresh or processed horticultural produce is generally studied under this. Why post-harvest management is important? Because food safety, so that the quality of the food does not changes, does not deteriorate. So food safety, quality insurance, better storage conditions are provided. So if we take proper care of the post harvest, technologies are properly used, so what will happen, it will be stored in a better way. Better protection from the pest will be there, it will reduce the losses, and better marketing opportunities. So not just only saving it from the pest, or not just saving it from the losses, but also you can convert one commodity that will be sold at lesser prices. For example, if we have tomato, so if we go for direct selling of tomato, it will be sold at lesser prices as compared to when it is sold after processing purpose, or you can say after making the ketchup out of it, or after making the chutney out of it. So that will be sold at higher prices. So it also adds the value to the product. Alright. Then coming to what are the different post harvest, how is it handled? So different vegetables, how are they handled? So first we go for harvesting, then pre-cooling is done, then cleaning and sorting of these are done, grading, storage, packaging, transportation is done, and finally it is either given to the consumer for the consumption, or it is supplied to the processing into the factories. One by one we are going to see that what are these processes. Another chart that we have is the flow chart for the post-harvest handling of the fruits. So in fruits also, similarly as it is done in the vegetables, we go for harvesting, pre-cooling, sorting, washing, then waxing is done there. Okay, extra that we have sizing and packaging is done, transportation, and finally the processing or the consumer, it goes to directly the consumer. Here the processing means that another product out of these things can be made. Okay. So first coming to the first, we had the process of harvesting. How do we judge that when do we have to harvest any crop? So first is knowing that which kind of maturity, at which kind of maturity do we need to harvest. So there are different types of maturity. First is our horticultural maturity. So what is horticultural maturity? It is a developmental stage of the fruit on the tree which will result in a satisfactory product after the harvest. So what happens in horticultural maturity? Generally we harvest the crop after it is when it is at which stage it is required by the consumer. Okay, so that is basically the horticultural maturity. Second, we have the physiological maturity. So in physiological maturity, what happens, generally these fruits, or you can say the vegetable or any of the crop that is like still in the plant, that will get ripened on its own. That means the plant now plant has like stopped the translocation of all the photosynthetes to the fruit, because it thinks that the fruit has fully matured or fully ripened, and now there is no further transfer of you can say the photosynthetes are required. That is basically the physiological maturity. Okay, harvest maturity. What is harvest maturity? It is a stage which will allow fruits, vegetables at its peak condition when it reaches to the consumer and develops the acceptable flavor or appearance and having adequate shelf life. So what happens in harvest maturity is that the consumer, at which state the consumer wants the fruit. Suppose we have like a banana. Okay, there is a plant that is growing banana, and banana we have harvested the fruit in its pre-ripening stage when it was still not ripened. Now why we have done that? Because till the time it reaches the final consumer, it will get ripened during that duration. Okay, so that's why we call it that at which stage we have to harvest the a particular fruit or particular commodity from the tree. That is decided according to at which stage it will reach the consumer. So that is the harvest maturity, at which stage it has to be harvested. Okay, so these are different types of maturity. Now we have the pre-cooling process. So after harvesting, we go for pre-cooling. Why pre-cooling is done? To remove the field heat. So whatever heat is still present in the commodity, or you can say the fruit from the field, that has to be first removed, so as to like whatever germs or whatever bacteria or fungi that were growing on it, or were like about to grow in those conditions, in those warm conditions, that like growth will stop. So that heat has to be removed. Okay, it minimizes the susceptibility to attack from microorganisms. Okay, and slows down the respiration of the produce. So the faster it will respirate, the faster the respiration of any of the fruit or food or vegetable is there, the faster there will be the deterioration of it. Okay, so the ripening or the rotting process will be faster, so that respiration rate has to be brought down. So that is the pre-cooling. Then after pre-cooling, we go for cleaning and sorting. So cleaning has to be done with a plenty of water, or you can also use the Cl, chlorine can also be used. So water with 100 to 150 ppm chlorine can be used, and that has the pH of around 6.5 to, or almost moderately you have to like have the pH 6.5 to 7.5 pH you need to have. So also it will, like when it is washed with the water, it will remove all the dirt and dust present over there. Okay, then we have the another, that is the grading. So grading of fruits and vegetables is generally done on the basis of their physical you can say physical characteristics, like particular kind of weight, or you can say suppose we have oranges. Okay, so we have different kinds of oranges of different sizes. So on the basis of different sizes, we'll sort it out, or we'll grade it into different cartons. So that is the grading process. It can be on the basis of weight, on the basis of size, color, shape, specific gravity. Sometimes it is that no particular factory needs a fruit of particular size or a particular shape or particular color. So according to those needs also, these are graded. Okay. Then we have the process of curing. So in curing, what happens is generally it is done to reduce the moisture percentage of any vegetable or any fruit. ठीक है. So when moisture percentage will be reduced, there will be lesser chances for outer microorganism or the pest to infect it. ठीक है. So generally it can be done either it can be like laid down or hang down anywhere, or this can also be done with the help of furnace. So in some cases furnace heat is also provided in order to reduce the moisture percentage. So that is the curing process. Then we have another, that is the waxing. So generally in fruits we go for waxing. And waxing means a complete layer of wax, edible wax is like put on these fruits so that the respiration rates comes down, or the respiration or the transpiration rates slows down. ठीक है. These chemicals can be used, and with waxes we can also incorporate different kinds of fungicides, or growth regulators, or preservatives, so as to increase the shelf life of the food. Okay. Then we have the packaging process. In packaging process you must have seen there are different types of packages. Okay, so this can be in the plastic, or this can be done in the cartons. So depending on the type of fruit or type of commodity, horticultural commodity that we have, we can have different kinds of packaging. Okay, to assemble the produce in convenient units, not just for like increasing the shelf life, but also for handling purpose also. Okay, and to protect the produce from during the transportation and marketing operation. Okay. Next we have the storage. So packaging is done, and then finally it is stored. So for storage purpose we also have the different kinds of you can say different techniques are used. So ground storage is there, ambient storage, refrigerated storage, we have air cooled storage, zero energy storage, modified atmospheric storage. So places where the atmospheric gases are modified. It means the level of CO2 will be increased, the level of O2 will be decreased, so as these fruits that we are like keeping there, or the vegetables that we are keeping there, they'll have lesser or slower down of respiration rates, and that will increase the shelf life. Okay, so the storage also has to be like proper. Then we have the different preservation methods. So in preservation methods, see, preservation is generally a method by which the food is kept out of spoilage after harvesting. So for that purpose we like incorporate different types of techniques or different kinds of chemicals into it, so that the preservation of any of the commodity can be done. So we have the different methods of preservation. In this we have the first one, that is the asepsis. So asepsis is basically this term, the literal meaning of this term is to remove or to avoid any contact with the microorganisms. Okay? So in aseptic conditions or asepsis, that means any of the microorganisms will be prevented by maintaining general cleanliness. So cleanliness is maintained, or there can be use of UV radiations as well, so as to kill all the microorganisms. So those are the aseptic conditions. Okay? Then we have the pasteurization process. In pasteurization, what happens? We generally you must have heard about the pasteurization of milk, but in vegetables and fruits also pasteurization is done. There the temperature or the heat is provided to the commodity, and after that suddenly the temperature is lowered down, so that there is all the harmful microorganisms that were already present there are killed due to this fluctuation in temperature. Okay? Heat treatment of the food material followed by the rapid cooling is done. Okay? So as to deactivate or suppress the microorganisms. Then we have the sterilization process. So in sterilization process, what happens? There is complete exclusion of microbes. So whatever microbes that were already present here, already present in the commodity, or you can say whatever product that we have made. First, in some cases, in first case we have done the pasteurization. In another case, in sterilization, we kill it by the high temperature. So there we first increase the temperature and then decrease the temperature. Here we are only going to use the high temperature. Okay? So high temperature is used for fruits and vegetables, 100 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. Okay? and for non-acidic vegetables sterilized at 116 degrees Celsius temperature for 30 minutes. ठीक है. Next we have the refrigeration. So refrigeration, generally in general also people use this method at their homes. So at homes we have the refrigerator at which the temperature is generally at around 4 degrees Celsius temperature, because at this temperature there is lower down of microorganisms formation or the harmful organisms that can grow on these on our food commodity, that their growth is reduced. Okay. The shelf life of some foods materials like fresh fruits and vegetables, eggs, and eggs or dairy products and meats can be increased by storage at 4 degrees Celsius or below. Okay. Next we have the freezing. In freezing, the temperature is further brought down to 0 degrees Celsius. So we use both kind of process. In one process we were increasing the temperature, in another process we are decreasing the temperature, and the purpose is only one, that we have to reduce the growth of the microorganisms. So in freezing, it's generally done at minus 18 degrees Celsius to minus 4 degrees Celsius. Okay? These different types of fruits and vegetables are frozen. Then we also use the chemicals. So according to FPO, that is Food Product Order, we use sulfur dioxide or benzoic acid that can be used as a preservative. Okay? Now these preservatives are also classified into two classes. First we have the class 1 preservatives, and the other one we have the class 2 preservatives. So in class 1 preservatives generally use all the natural resources, you can say, the sugar that we have, the spices or the salt. So these are generally in the class 1 preservatives, and in class 2 preservatives we have other chemicals like sodium benzoate, we have potassium bisulfate. So these are also used for the storage of different kinds of food, and you must have seen in different packages also. If you go for reading of their preservatives, you'll find these chemicals in there. Okay. So this was all about the horticulture and the post harvest technology.